What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 3 players every team should keep and 3 they should sell. And today we are doing Leeds, of course, newly promoted after winning the championship last year, and it's been a very long time since a very big club in Leeds has been in the Premier League. Now, this is a big year. Obviously, you want to stay up. You want to make sure you bring in enough quality players. You want to also be semi-conservative in a way. I never really liked the idea of teams like, remember Fulham a couple years ago, or Villa just now, where they come up and spend £200 million, and then if it doesn't work out, you go down and you've wasted a huge ton of money and had a really bad year. I don't really like it that way. I like coming up and adding quality over quantity and seeing if you can do it that way. That way, if you go back down, you still have players who may want to come right back up, and not really necessarily players who want to jump ship already. So we'll see about how Leeds do it. Of course, bringing in Rodrigo already, very good option. But let's jump into it. 3 players they ought to keep. Number 1, Berardi. Now, this one is one of those players who's not really necessarily in danger of leaving, but a good center back. Obviously has some interest in him, but Leeds are at a point now with Ben White gone where every center back on the books at the moment needs to stay there. They cannot be getting rid of any more players at center back, especially with the new season just a couple of days away. Number 2, Calvin Phillips. This one seems obvious. One of their better players, of course, especially in midfield. Of course, had his England debut the other day. A player who's been linked with a variety of different clubs. It is imperative that as a championship team coming up, you keep a hold of your Premier League quality players that first year. Even if you have to get rid of them next year or really big clubs come calling, it is imperative year 1 that you keep everybody who is Premier League quality in the squad. And Calvin Phillips, one of the better midfielders, needs to stay a battler. That is priceless in the Premier League when you are coming up from the championship. And then number 3, Patrick Bamford. Now, there aren't too many strikers on the books. Now, they bought one in theory. Rodrigo could play up front. He could play out left as well. But Bamford, at minimum, needs to be in the team at the back. He's, in the squad at least. He's a backup probably, in the end where Leeds want to be. He's probably a backup. You may want to get a really good striker in, but at minimum, he brings a different kind of presence to the pitch. He's a big guy, strong, can head the ball. It's one of those players you need to keep around and just hold on to players who can change the game, who can make a difference, especially when you are fighting for every single point. Now, 3 players they should get rid of. Number 1, Barry Douglas. He's not really good enough, is he? And at 30, he was already not really good enough for the championship. Old enough now where he's not really going to improve. Moving up a division, just get that money. Anything, really. Get him off the books and move on from him. Number 2, this one, well, we can do 2 and 3 at the same time because they're very similar types of things. Shackleton and Leif Davies, and I want them to leave on loan. These are players you don't get rid of, but loan players. Shackleton, Leif Davies, they're both pretty young. Struggled a little bit for minutes last year, both of them, but definitely have the potential to grow. And if you can get them, regular first-team football in the championship, you got to go after that, I think. They may not come, if they're getting some minutes here and there in the championship and you're making a jump up and it's your first season in the Premier League, you don't really want to rely on players like that. You want them, in theory, to go out, get the experience they need to, come back stronger and ready to fight for Premier League spots. So I think Shackleton and Leif Davies can both really go ahead and get those minutes out there and get the experience. But Leeds at the moment, in terms of going out, it's a pretty thin squad. It's relatively thin. There are some good players on the pitch. The starting 11 are good, and then it kind of thins out relatively quickly, kind of like Wolves, who have a really good first 11, and then the bench kind of thins relatively quickly. Leeds are in that position, so getting rid of players is not something I would necessarily recommend, but we have to find 3, and we found 2 loans and 1 player who's probably not going to play any Premier League minutes anyway, guys. But let me know in the comments how you feel. But that is going to be it. Hope you've enjoyed. Stay tuned, of course, for more. We're going to be doing these for all the teams. And peace.